Hello, I'm Disgruntled Danny, and welcome to episode 3 of Woke Watch. Today, we're going to look at how wokeists react when someone doesn't go along with their utterly moronic worldview. We'll look at two cases, both around the same subject, something that woke people love to scream about, and that's transgender people. Whenever I discuss trans issues, I add this caveat, and that is there are some people who are born into the wrong bodies and need corrective surgery. And if you're watching this and that applies to you, I wish you the very best on your journey. However, within the trans community, and in fact within most oppressed communities, there will be a small but very vocal minority screaming and crying and generally fucking it up for everyone else just so they can wank off their own egos. And often the people who are even worse are their woke allies. So when the Anti-Everything Brigade are challenged, typically they react in one of two ways. Firstly, they will throw a tantrum, screaming like a toddler who's been told they can't have an ice cream. And that makes sense, because many woke people have this form of arrested development, where they hate authority because subconsciously they're still angry at mummy and daddy. They process information like a fucking 3-year-old. The second way they react involves tons of hypocrisy. Because woke people are always on about inclusion, togetherness, love and understanding. But if they meet someone who doesn't toe their idiotic party line, often they explode with violence. So, the first case, I should point out I won't be going into specifics. In fact, I'll be deliberately vague. And that's because there's an ongoing investigation and I don't want the channel shut down. So, there's a large landmass that resides between Canada and Mexico. And a few of the states on this landmass have passed legislation saying that if I live there and I want to identify as a woman, if I say I'm a woman, then I am legally female. And anyone who disagrees is a bigot and a transphobe. However, there have also been numerous reports of biological men turning up at spas and such like, saying they identify as female and using the women's changing rooms and female-only areas. But because of this woke legislation, there's fuck all anyone can do about it. Now this does need some nuance, because a genuine trans woman, I imagine, wouldn't want to get changed in the male changing room. But also, a biological woman may not be comfortable with someone getting their penis out in the female changing room. So, I don't have an answer to that. But as we will see, there are some perverts who are using this loophole to basically get their sick fucking jollies. So a couple of vague examples. One woman made a complaint that in the female changing room, a trans woman entered, got undressed and started waving her penis at the woman's 8-year-old daughter. And when she complained, she was told she was in the wrong, that she was a bigot, that she was a transphobe, etc. Another woman said that at a female-only nude spa, a trans woman with a fucking beard walked in, looked at her 6-year-old child and started stroking her penis. So a number of women held a protest outside one of these spas. And this sparked a counter-protest by the wokest group of all, Antifa. Antifa is short for anti-fascist. Now, I'm anti-fascist, but I can be anti-fascist without setting fire to cars and destroying local businesses. Whereas Antifa dress in all black and go around kicking the shit out of anyone that doesn't agree with them. A bit like fascists do. So, Antifa held a counter-demonstration against a group of women who didn't want their daughters molested. Whilst this was going on, an old chap, deeply religious, in his 70s or 80s, walks up and starts spouting scripture about how trans people shouldn't be allowed to exist. Now, I in no way agree with that point of view, but this is an old religious nut. So a member of Antifa ran up behind him, kneed him in the head, and when he went down, 5 of them kicked hell out of him. Beating up someone based on their religion. Again, that's fascism. Next, let's look at how woke people have been treating the author J.K. Rowling. She's best known for writing the Harry Potter books, and as much as I enjoyed the films, I haven't read the novels for 2 reasons. Firstly, when they were first published, I was in my 20s, and I got tired of people coming up to me going, "Have you read Harry Potter?" because I'd reply no, because I'm a fucking adult. And secondly, my favourite author of all time is the late Sir Terry Pratchett. Now, Rowling borrowed a lot of his ideas, but never acknowledged it. So in the eyes of the woke, J.K. Rowling has 3 of the 4 main privileges. She is cisgendered. And if you're not familiar with that term, cisgendered means you identify with the sex you were born as. I don't know what was wrong with the word normal, and I'm not trying to be horrible here, but if 99% of people identify as the sex they're born as and 1% don't, then the 99% is normal, the 1% is abnormal. Next, she is straight, which is a huge privilege, and she's white. The one privilege she doesn't have is she's not male. Now, I have all 4 of the privileges, so obviously I'm doing much better than the multimillionaire author. But in 2020, Rowling was thrown under the bus after she took to Twitter to criticise the woke term people who menstruate, saying there used to be a term for that, which of course is women. But the wokeists were outraged, insisting men have periods too. Now, just a word of advice, gents. If every month you've got blood coming out of your dick, see a doctor. So Rowling had committed the anti-woke sin of using reality. People came at her saying trans women are real women and trans men are real men. And that's fair enough, but there are still biological differences. Because if I go home now, spray my Mini in bright red and put a prancing horse on the bonnet, it doesn't make it a fucking Ferrari. And to make matters worse, in one of Rowling's adult novels, she had a character who was a man who dressed as a woman to commit a murder. So the overly sensitive people started screaming, "She's a TERF! Burn the witch!" A TERF is a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. And this is a term used by people on the far left who don't understand, well, pretty much everything. But in this instance, they had mistaken pro-female to mean anti-trans. And as much as equality is important, no group should get more rights by taking them away from another. And now the author has revealed that since she posted her tweet, she has received thousands of threatening tweets and direct messages, mostly from people saying they're going to rape her. That's nice, isn't it? Is that what being woke is? Threatening someone with one of the worst crimes imaginable because they have a different fucking opinion to you. She's also received multiple death threats like this one. "I wish you a very nice pipe bomb in your mailbox." Is it just me? Or does that sentence not really flow? If you're going to threaten an award-winning author, at least put some effort in. I think those examples give a real insight in what it's like to be woke. Screaming and crying at everything, claiming that you're the victim, or at least you're on the side of the victim, until you find someone you can intimidate, and then go on the attack. What a bunch of utter arseholes. We're coming up to the end of the video. I hope that brief insight at the internal workings of the woke proved useful. I'm now going to call myself Disgruntled Danielle, drive to the local swimming pool, go into the ladies' changing rooms where I will strip bollock naked and shout bigot at any woman who doesn't stare hypnotically at my gentleman sausage. As ever, thanks for watching.